This is Jason from Media World. I killed you once, I kill you again, I killed. What the fuck is going on here? Freddy. Good evening.
Now you're adrift in a sea of lies, a foolish villain in an endless chapter. The demons running behind your eyes, a simple shadow we can fight together. I'll never walk away.
Let's kill something.
Thanks for Media World and welcome to my Friday the 13th franchise reviews. Let's continue with Jason X.
Why did you black out the sun?
So the film was released in 2001. It's from the director of Pig Hunt. Yeah, that movie you've never heard of. And it's from the same writer of Drive Angry, so you can clearly tell right now this movie is not meant to be taken seriously. Jason X, the character which you've been following for so many years, going into space. Yeah, it's a pretty silly idea and it's taking the piss out of itself. It is basically a giant mock, and so is Drive Angry. So it's from the same writer, so you can clearly tell the guy did not take it seriously, and the film obviously portrays it very unseriously. This is Kane Hodder's final appearance as Jason, being the fact that Freddy vs. Jason picked someone else to play Jason's character, and of course the remake was someone completely different also. So you never know, maybe in the future, maybe in this current new remake or new sequel they're planning on doing, they might bring him back, but for the meantime, this is his last appearance as the Jason character. So the story for Jason X follows Jason Voorhees being captured by the military once again. He gets frozen in cryogenic sleep, wakes up like 400 years in the future with a lone survivor, who basically stopped him, and of course he goes on a rampage on a spaceship. It's basically Friday the 13th on a spaceship. It is exactly what it is. And this is actually the first Friday the 13th movie I actually saw when I was young. I actually liked it back when I was a kid. I thought it was a really fun movie. The idea of seeing a serial killer being on a spaceship and then transforming into an upgraded version is pretty fucking sweet at the time anyway. I wasn't sure if I actually still liked this movie or not. I rewatched it again last night for the review, and I liked it more than the past two sequels, definitely. It kind of knew what it wanted to be. It was a mockery of itself. It's no more silly than what I've already seen from the past two sequels. So for people that actually absolutely hate this movie, I can understand, but at the same time, it's from the writer of Drive Angry. It's better than the last two sequels, and it's actually going back to basics in one respect or another, in a sense. It's just Friday the 13th on a spaceship, and it's just Jason doing what he does. We don't get to see any slugs. We don't get to see him as a weird child in the sewers. We don't get to see any kind of weird crap like that anymore. It's just Jason killing people, doing what he does best. And Kane Hodder actually plays a decent role as the character again, playing two different versions. I like some of his facial expressions. I like the opening scene was chained all up and you just see his one little eye. He's looking at that one guy saying, "I'm gonna kill you," kind of thing. Pretty badass. And later on when he gets his full red eyes again, I think it's, oh, get in there kind of thing. Now the opening of the actual movie is actually pretty refreshing to see. The actual military managed to capture Jason yet again. Actually managed to chain him up, and they want to experimentation on him. His regenerated cells keep bringing him back and back, so they want to figure out why he keeps coming back. Magic. Which is exactly what Jason Voorhees should have actually done when the military stopped him in the opening sequence of that movie. I mean, what did they do? Just forget all of a sudden? And to my surprise also, when Jason escaped in the opening of this movie and gets into cryogenic sleep underneath the actual base, did they once again forget about the characters? Oh yeah, there's a top secret military base near Camp Crystal Lake. Should we go in and check on a bit? Nah, be fine. Characters in this movie are pretty bland in all respect. Some characters I really don't care about. Some characters I'm actually pretty rooting for. Some are really cheesy one-liners in a sense. Our main female protagonist, of course, stopped Jason at the opening of the movie. We're meant to kind of root for her in a sense, but she doesn't really take down Jason much. She just kind of stands back and let everyone else do all the work. And she's kind of like at the end of it going, yeah, stop Jason. Well, actually, she didn't. The actual main military dude was bad enough to actually spacewalk, take him into orbit kind of thing. all the credit goes to that guy. He's actually our main kind of protagonist character that actually managed to stop Jason, and he does it pretty badass. The main female protagonist, I felt she was just a boring character. She was pretty interesting in the opening. I liked her kind of reasonings, like, you know, trying to stop Jason, you know, cryogenic sleeping, all that type of stuff. Understanding the character is fine, but she didn't really, you know, pick up like a Ripley kind of, you know, style and pick up a shotgun and a flamethrower or whatnot and stop him in space. One of my surprises also for a space sci-fi movie with Jason in it, there's no real sci-fi weapons. It's all the same kind of, you know, military guns and ammunition. No grenades, no kind of, you know, laser weapons. You know, go full on board of it. You know, if they can do machete kills again in space with lasers and clones and all this type of weird crap in that movie, you know, go full forward with it. You know, take that concept and just go completely insane. They had Jason revamped and remodeled again, so why not go full on, you know, ammunition, full on, you know, lasers and crap like that? That would be seriously awesome. The rest of the cast are just typical teenage characters that you would see from Camp Crystal Lake back in the earlier movies, except they're just in space, of course, doing the same thing, you know, sex, drugs, and all that type of crap. You know, all the characters deserve to get killed off. The ones they did, you know, the teen girls and all that type of stuff, they all deserve to get killed off, because I don't care about them, they're just annoying. The dialogue was very cheesy, some of the characters, especially that one scene where she goes like, "and single, I'm so lonely." One of the other female protagonists in this character is actually the android, which is seriously badass, especially the last part of the movie. If anybody says to me that they did not like the android scene where she kicks Jason ass and blows him to shit, arms off, head, whatever, then they're seriously lying to themselves, because that is an awesome scene. I haven't seen this movie in ages, and I watched it thinking, you know, that's actually pretty badass. It's nice to see an actual, you know, taking the idea of a sci-fi. Sure, don't have lasers, don't have, you know, grenades or whatnot type of crap, but you have an android, so use the ability, use the super strength, use the ammunition type of stuff. Of course, it's cheesy, it's got one-liners kind of thing. She reacts in a certain way and smiles all the time kind of thing, but she's kicking Jason's ass, and it's pretty fucking fun, I have to admit, in all fairness. Now, Jason's motivation in this movie is a little different. He's basically, as I would see, of course, he just wakes up on a spaceship and he's kind of thinking to himself, you know, what the heck's going on here? What am I doing here? And then just starts to kill everybody on a rampage, doing what he does best. You know, Jason's kind of logic is not really focused anymore like it was before. Originally, it was like, if anyone comes to Camp Crystal Lake, you're going to get killed. It's my territory. Now he practically goes after anybody that I don't know, lives in Camp Crystal Lake. Anybody kind of comes crossing its path, practically in a sense. You know, from the motivations of the last two sequel movies, he really does not care anymore. He's thinking, yeah, why not, I'll just kill all of you kind of thing. It's just a bit, you know, the motivation's kind of long gone, but in this movie it kind of makes a bit more sense, a bit more grounded in the sense like, yes, he's on a spaceship, yes, he's just going to kill everybody he sees. Now, the death scenes in this movie are pretty let down in all fairness. They're not really that good. Very edited, very off-screen kills. There's violence in some scenes, you know, when there's spears and when there's kind of, you know, blood and things that do pop out and they do open their mouth and that type of stuff. But it's very typical slasher type of, like, on the screen kind of crap. Some of the best deaths are the ones that happen quite early on in the movie. My favourite death scene is the one where Jason wakes up and, of course, takes that woman's head and just puts in that kind of, you know, frosted liquid nitrogen kind of thing, and then just smashes her head, completely shatters everywhere. That's a pretty cool death scene, I have to admit that. And of course, when Jason gets his head blown off, I think that's pretty awesome. That's about it. The rest of it is kind of up and close and personal, which is really cool to see, because Jason has got a really good physical strength. He doesn't need all his weapons and machetes. He's lots of personal neck snaps and kind of, you know, crushing people's backs. That's pretty fucking awesome. That's very Bane-esque, you know, smashing people against the wall. That's pretty awesome, I have to admit. So he's definitely up and close and personal in this movie, which I think actually is one of its strengths, because that way it's not edited, it's not shying away from anything. But the rest of the kills are very just like off screams, very quick, you know, easy kills, which is a bit boring in all fairness. One of the things I like about this movie is actually seeing the military in some way, shape or form taking up Jason. One of the things I really liked about Jason Goes to Hell is the opening sequence, and of course when the military blew him up. I thought that was seriously awesome, and they should have played out the rest of that in the entire movie. And now we get to see some kind of space marines, kind of alien style in a sense, going up against a serial killer. That's pretty fucking sweet. But again, they just don't fall through with it. They're a bit shit in all fairness. They're about as useless as the ones in Heroes of Ice 2, for God's sake. They're not really military people, apart from the one character that actually comes back and actually kicks Jason ass at the end of the movie. The rest of them kind of look like teenagers in a sense. You know, some of the actual actors and some playing military badasses look really young, really teenager like, real baby face, very stage actors, and of course they all get their ass whooped to them. So overall, Jason X is a mockery of itself. You know, it's a zombie serial killer from the original franchise going into space to become an even more stoppable zombie killer by upgrading him later on. You know, it's like, how can you not really like that, in all fairness? For people that absolutely hate this movie, I can understand, but it's no more silly than the previous movies that I've seen. I think in all fairness, it's gone back to basics in some aspects. It's practically Friday the 13th in space, and I think it does what it does quite well in all respects. You know, it's taking the piss out of itself. It's got some good sci-fi elements to it in some places. The opening scene I thought was really fantastic. I love the reanimation scene when he comes into the kind of the upgraded version of Jason, which a lot of people really do not like. Perfectly honest, I thought it was pretty badass, and it's nice to see also a space version of Jason. Very clever. You know, it's taking that sci-fi cheese to it and just using it to its advantage. I was just in a little bit more, maybe more nasty deaths, a bit more kind of, you know, military going against him, maybe some more smart people. But for what it was, I quite enjoyed it, and I felt I had a bit of a laugh out of it. At the same time, it's still got a lot of cheesy elements to it. It's still got a character that I really don't care for, a lot of off-screen kills. It's got a lot of problems, but it's also got a lot of really good stuff about it as well. So if you want to sit back, have some popcorn, kick a couple of beers, go and watch Jason X. You can have a laugh, definitely, for sure. It's definitely not the best Friday the 13th movie, but it's definitely not the worst, for sure. So that's been my review for Jason X. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what you think from TV.